Hello and welcome to 707. I'm Daedalus Howell. If you know anything about music in Sonoma County or anywhere within a 100-mile, maybe 1,000-mile, maybe 10,000-mile radius of the scene, you know the name Josh Windmiller. He's the gentleman, musician, artist behind the North Bay Hootenanny, the band The Crux, Railroad Square Music Festival. I can go on, but why do that when the man is right here? Hello, Josh. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, music for you obviously isn't merely a passion. It's a vocation. It's a sort of community pursuit. You have, in a very fascinating way, taken music and made it not just something that you allow yourself to express through, but something that you've enabled others to express through. Where do you get this drive to build community around music?
Well, the drive for it comes from a feeling of indebtedness, probably. Music came to me, I guess, later than like I didn't have a high school band or a college band or
Really?
any of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I just assumed you were a lifer. Wow.
No. I have a background in like theater and like like education and like curriculum design and liberal studies, like reading and stuff. And that's where all of that's where most of my energy went for a long time. And then I kind of got shot out of the system after my education, and I didn't know what to do. I think I probably reached a point that a lot of other people get in my situation, where you've had these amazing experiences in college with the liberal arts and that sort of thing.
Where was that? Can I ask?
Oh, I went to Sonoma State.
Right on,
So I went to Santa Rosa High here. That's where I got my real love of performing arts and everything, and writing.
And you had a pit stop at ArtQuest for a little bit.
I did, yeah. I went to the theater program ArtQuest in Santa Rosa.
And then Sonoma State.
Then Sonoma State. I went to Sonoma State and I did a year abroad at the University of Leeds, studying theater and education and theater as social intervention, it was called. I went to schools and I went to prison up in Yorkshire, where I was at, and did theater with inmates and that sort of stuff, and learned about using the arts in that sort of way. Because
how to make a shiv.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, we teach them a few things. They teach us a few things. It's really cool. That's the beauty of art.
I'm blown away, because I have so identified you, as I think many of our viewers do, with music in this particular scene here.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I have a master's degree in curriculum design. So
what happened, man?
Think about that. It's kind of like I think I'm educating the people. No.
Were you planning to be an educator? Was that
I fell in. Okay, so I had the thing where you get kind of shot out afterwards, and you're like, what am I going to be? I can't even make sandwiches well. I don't think I'd be good at a deli thing. Everything gets sloppy. So I was like, well, I guess teach, right? So I started going to school to start learning about being a high school teacher or something like that, and I just got so freaked out by just the standards and that sort of stuff. And I looked around, and I was like, I don't feel like it. Maybe at some point in my life, I think I will go back to. I think I will do that.
Maybe after like a full circle kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of other people though were coming back after a whole life doing whatever, and like I just felt out of my element. But I fell in love with the idea of learning and teaching and that whole relationship. And so I went and got a master's in it, and I became an environmental educator for Sonoma State's outdoor program. They have a nature preserve, and I helped design their program up there.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I did that for a while, and I did that concurrently with starting a band, because
So I was gonna say,
why not?
When did you pick up the guitar? When?
I guess I picked the guitar up in senior year of high school just to like hold the guitar,
Right.
you know, and like just to kind of have it, you know. I was like, I knew a couple chords and the bar chords were kind of tough, but it was like I had a guitar, right? And that guitar fell apart, like in my hands, like the bridge came off and everything just kind of fell apart at once, and I was like, well.
I mean,
I got another one.
From playing it so much, or just
no, actually not. I wasn't
Yeah.
actually playing it that
Yeah.
much. Like I said, I was just kind of carrying it around and did a couple things. But then I got a new one, and I started like saying, okay, I'm going to have a band. I'm going to do this because I'm so music. When I was in this really tough time after getting out of college and not knowing what to do with my passions and how to make it work,
right.
I started to listen to a lot of music, more than I had before. I was more of a reader than a music listener before, and I felt like I want to try this out, and I surrounded myself. I started teaming up with a really great songwriter and surrounded myself with some great musicians, and as the Masters was getting completed, my band was also getting better and better known, the Crux.
Right.
And I also found myself putting on shows for other people. Like people would, it mostly would be people would come to me like for a Crux show, and I couldn't do it for some reason, but I knew someone else that I'd played a show with, and I felt so much gratitude towards these other people that were making this decision with their lives to do this, to make music their thing, and to bring music to people, and to write these songs, and to put the time and energy that goes into writing and rehearsing, that I felt, you got to see this other band. And so before I knew it, I was booking other bands, you know, and that turned, and I was putting on these events to help showcase these other bands, because I saw one band, I saw another band, I was like, you guys gotta meet each other. And before I knew it, like as the Masters was getting completed, this whole other life just assembled itself, and it just started to take off.
I wonder if, because you came to the scene as a relative outsider, not having pursued bands through high school and participated in what's the usual trajectory for that kind of phenomena, I wonder if you had an outsider perspective and you were able to see the network for what it was, as it was, and connect it as, in many ways, its central hub. You know, at least
maybe, because that's I've always kind of felt like that, even in the band, even in the Crux.
Who else is in the band?
Well, it's a revolving roster,
Okay.
but we have a kind of a four-piece that's like our core members, and that's myself, Kale Yamanoha, who is a performer at large in the North Bay. He plays trombone, accordion. He plays guitar and banjo and stuff, and he's been playing music with me for a long time. Joshua James Jackson, another performer at large in the area, is in a bunch of bands, and Taylor Cuffey on the drums. That's kind of our basic kind of setup right now.
Yeah.
But even in the band, I kind of see myself as, I mean, I write most of the songs. I'm the front man and that sort of stuff. But I don't think of myself as I don't think of it as a band all the time. Sometimes I think of us as a people like pretending to be a band.
Okay,
sometimes
Let's come back to that in a second with Josh Windmiller, impresario, band leader. We'll be right back at 707.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that we introduce the fantastic band right here. I ran into this group of young toughs by the crossroads just outside the town of Baden. They're a little rough around the edges, but I'm sure you all will agree they make the most beautiful music. Well, did you know the Baden boys are prowling down the path? Yeah, the reeds whistling, cover up your shiny jewels and glass. You know they won't last long, just some lads with a minor impediment, looking for some strange entertainment. Yada-da-da-da! Here come
We're back on 707 with Josh Windmiller. You know him if you know anything about music in this vicinity. So we left off in the last segment talking about the crux and how it operates as, in some ways, a bunch of actors acting like a band, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the rest of the band, they're legit.
So this is how you feel, okay?
This is mostly how I feel. They're legit. Calais is an astounding natural musician.
Yeah.
His ear is incredible, and his sense of immediacy on stage is amazing. And he can play all sorts of instruments, and it's really great. Joshua James Jackson has really made the call to be a performer and a musician, and he is just a perfect example of a musician in today's world. And Taylor is SSU student. He may have just graduated. I
also with a master's in something.
Yeah, probably in medicine. Yeah, I think he's a jazz student over there. So he's way in it deep. And they're all younger than me. I started getting to music right now in their timeline.
In their trajectory.
So
can I ask approximately how old you are?
I'm approximately 33 years old. My birthday is December 18th.
Right on.
And I'm a Sagittarius. And but the way I kind of approach it is like, when I write a song, I think, okay, who's writing this song? I don't think, what song are you going to write, Josh?
Oh, I see.
And
you take on the aspect of a character.
It usually has that, and sometimes that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But that's where I start off.
It's interesting, and so you give voice then to this other entity.
Yeah. But so there's a certain amount of alienation though between me and that.
Yeah, it's a dissociative personality disorder.
I think it's clinical. But maybe that's also there with the scene too, with the music scene, being able to kind of separate a little bit and look at the big picture. I think that's just part of how I approach things.
Well, I think it's very valuable what you do for the scene, because you've certainly galvanized it, at least in my observation, and certainly that of my colleagues in the press. You have won a ton of awards. In fact, you were awarded the Community Foundation's award.
That was really
last
cool.
year. That's a really nice honor.
That meant a lot because they're. They're investing. They
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
They saw it as something to actually put some muscle and money behind to help what I'm doing.
Well, hopefully it helps keep you here, because I would imagine the scene that's developed around you and your efforts and the sort of the organic emergence of these bands anyway, the coherency that you bring to it would evaporate, I would imagine, if you weren't here. At least if you don't stay for a little bit longer, because it needs to cohere just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of right now like a word of mouth kind of level, and that's what I tell people too. Some people say, "Oh wow, this has got to be, we gotta." People gotta just come here to Santa Rosa and they'll see all this amazing music, and when they go to a show that's really good, they say that,
right.
And I say, well, hold up, like. Right now, you kind of have to turn over some rocks. You gotta get your hands a little dirty to find this amazing thing that's happening. So yeah, I think it's still a little bit far out before it's just right there on the forehead.
Where we're known
Sonoma
for,
County.
this is a thing that happens.
Yeah,
in Sonoma County.
but I'm really happy with how that's progressing. The Community Foundation, working with the County of Sonoma and the City of Santa Rosa, has been so encouraging to me.
Well, let's talk about the turning over the rock factor.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in some ways, you are a curator of the scene. And the risk of that, I would imagine, is that you have your own tastes and proclivities, and a lot of the acts that work with you guys sort of echo that. There's a sound. There's an emerging Sonoma County sound, and I wonder, is the polka punk band ever gonna get an ear from Josh Windmiller? I mean,
the polka punk band?
Yeah.
Oh, if there's
if they wrote a letter.
Is there a polka punk band around here? Oh, if there was that, we're kind of, the Crux is kind of a punk band with an accordion. Yeah, that is a thing. I really try to keep it wide.
That's not a criticism. I'm just curious about how do you...
It's tough.
Yeah. Because the scene works when when it is kind of the same thing. And I can come here and go, I know I'm going to get this level of performance. This is the sound I like, and I like your sound, so I'm happy. Yeah. But somebody else might be like, all these dudes only do that kind of Americana kind of,
Totally. Yeah.
How do you work with that? Or does it matter?
I just try and keep a long-term perspective on it. And right now, I'm doing what I can with the people I know and building it.
Right.
And every year it's gotten wider. I've received more opportunities to book music at different levels, and I'm able to every year bring in more local artists just to help them get a push. I don't feel like I have a responsibility to any specific person,
right.
to do anything. I'm thinking long term, and I'm just doing it, and I'm always trying to widen it. I'm trying to, like the Railroad Square Music Festival this year, we're reaching out more to the Spanish-speaking community with a couple bands, and that's so important, and it feels so good, and it feels way overdue, and it feels like not enough. But I'm keeping, the only thing you can do is keep your eye on this long-term goal and try and make it better every year, and try and meet with people and talk as often as you can, and make sure that everything's moving forward.
So to clarify, what would the goal be ultimately? To have this turn into an Austin, to have this turn into Seattle in the 90s?
Yeah.
What's the end game for putting as much energy into a scene as you do?
Yeah.
Is it that to mint stars? I mean,
yeah.
Or to make it sustainable?
Yeah, sustainable is the main thing. I don't know what it's going to look like. And I mean, yeah, people do talk about Austin or Portland or whatever, but those all, I mean, everything that makes a city happen is so complex that you really, and everything's changing so much. Those cities are changing so much as well that I don't know, and I'm trying not to focus on exactly what it's going to look like. My goal is to make the area a place where artists can live and pursue what they do, and that's the main deal. Is like I want it to be sustainable, and because then if the artists can be gigging regularly and are known and appreciated in their community, and have opportunity to
and afford to live here,
and afford to live here, and have regular gigs and are appreciated, then what the scene looks like will happen, and it will change. It'll continue to change. But as long as we can keep doing that, that's the big deal for me. Is just make it sustainable, and make the scene is like fashion, you know, and the Americana thing is cool and developing and changing, and I don't feel pinned to that either.
Yeah.
It's just like I really try and keep it in the abstract in a way, and say I just want to make room for this in the community, and make that happen. I think that keeps me from getting too bogged down by exactly what it's going to look like. You never know, and you never know what industry is going to start being super supportive of it, or this or that, or which city is going to really start creating more opportunities for artists and that sort of stuff. And so I got to keep my antenna up and looking around, because it could look like a lot of different things in the future. It's definitely going to happen. It really seems like there's a real movement for the arts, specifically the musical arts in the North Bay, and I'm just trying to push that down into whatever areas I can, and with whatever genres I can. You know.
That's awesome, man. Let's come back to that in a second here. We're talking to Josh Windmiller on 707.
In the morning to the ding dong dang, marching to the table to the same damn thing. There's a knife on the table, cup in a pan. Say anything about it, you're in trouble with the man. Well, that's right, baby boys got boxing the balls, playing cards with barbed wire, wrapping the walls. Cat calls hollered at a full-grown man. Your head's held high, but you don't understand. There's a stench in the silent day, hearing that blade swish, chopping the weeds down like every wish. Like cleaning the mind, like cleaning the dish, or losing that kiss that sticks to your ribs. So you go off the book and you grab that cold drink that you're one playing poker with sissies and finks. Dragline, show us your teeth. Dragline, the lion beneath. Pounces at tumbleweeds and slate gray bad days, and goes to the chapel while the good hound dog bays, and kneels at the crucifix ready to pray. Not a word to say, not a word to say. Say, ooh, dragline. Say, ooh, dragline.
And we're back on 707 with Josh Windmiller. We're talking about the process of creating a music scene and what that portends in terms of Sonoma County's self-identity. And the specter looming all over this is the G word, gentrification. One of the phenomena I've observed is that the artists find the cool places to be, they create an awesome scene, and then eventually that scene becomes marketable and they get priced out. Are you a
Yeah.
real estate mogul in disguise? Is this the long game?
I have properties scattered around the Santa Rosa and Petaluma
First
area.
I'll build a music scene, then I'll crush it.
No,
I mean, that's a hazard, man. Do you face that? Do you think about that long?
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that all the time, and I've had a couple meetings with supervisors even to talk about it, because I'm really concerned. Because that's one of the main parts of what I'm doing. As I said, it's probably the main part, is just to be able to have artists live here. And that can be done a bunch of different ways, and if it is a priority, I think we can do it. But it really needs to be a priority, and we need to get out ahead on a few different fronts to kind of make it happen. And there's there's a bunch of different ways, and I'm sure you've spoken with people that are doing that.
Well, let's talk about those kind of fronts. Now, our producer John Moran has long talked about the three legs of the stool of Sonoma County being wine, tourism, or I should say wine, food, Epicuria, that kind of thing. Tourism, of course, and then the arts would be the third leg. And that's the one that until recently with Kristen Madsen, Creative Sonoma, and the EDB's efforts there, was sort of, for lack of a better term, ignored. Now you are the forefront of this, and you work with Kristen. I know you guys are working on Next Level, which is a coalition to kind of bring music awareness and help the local artists become more entrepreneurial, I guess, in their pursuits. But is that the front? Is it about creating a sustainable environment for artists to exist within, or where are the fronts? Whose doors are we knocking on?
So a big part of it is talking to the artists and helping them to think of what they're doing a bit more as a business, and I think that's a really important part that every artist out there can start working on more, and that's what the Next Level conference and showcase was about, was trying to help get that out there. It was also there to help just get the word out and showcase what we have here, so that business leaders and leaders in the political scene and everything can see that this is a big constituency that needs to be taken care of through policy, which I guess is another part of it.
Yeah, and a very vocal constituency, very valuable if you tap it the right way.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean it could help make the identity of this whole area, and it can really bring a lot of people here. That's why I'm doing things like Railroad Square Music Festival and that sort of thing, to help really bring people here and show people that music can have that really healthy element for the community, so that it's seen as something worth taking actions to make sure people can stay here. There's affordable housing. There's development, there's talking about that development, about the art space for people to artists to live for lower rents and that sort of stuff. And
where do you rehearse? My brother was looking for a rehearsal studio. Where do people rehearse in Santa Rosa? And he was sort of like looking at these places going, that's too expensive for what it is. And I thought, why would a rehearsal studio be expensive? He says, because it's real estate, and real estate here is inflated.
Real estate's crazy here, and so and that's something that I just want to stay involved with as people are figuring out. Maybe zoning kind of paperwork needs to change to maybe more high density as a thing. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there that it's not a lot of these aren't black and white issues. Like it needs to be. I'm so happy that it's been such a big discussion in the community, and I want the artists to stay engaged in that conversation, so that it's on everyone's mind that there are people here that, while their income from the arts is growing all the time, and I'm going to keep pushing for that whenever I possibly can, it's not going to be what a middle class of artists and musicians is growing all over. I mean, it's happening all over the country. Of people finding new revenue streams to live a middle class life as an artist, and they're going to keep working on that and pushing at that. But at the same time, it's worth it for the community to take steps and be thinking of how to house, how to.
I'm with you.
People can live
I think we need arts zoning, where certain zones have certain rent control, that kind of thing. It's an arts zone. Well, this 5 square blocks is the colony, and so it'd
be a really cool thing to look at and put out there, and more discussions like that are going to have to be had over the next year, I guess few years, but it's happening so quickly right now that to get ahead of the curve on this in terms of having this discussion before there's so much money and loud voices being run around, thrown around. It's like it should happen really soon.
I agree,
these sorts of ideas.
There's an assumption that I believe we both hold, that the arts are worth a damn, that there's something that need to exist.
Oh, yes.
Music in particular. How do you prove that to somebody who's not a musician or a fan?
Yeah.
How do you knock on a city council member's door who may not have the same affinity, and get them to understand why your block needs to be an arts zone?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because in many ways, I think you've got a great constituency, but you're preaching to the converted.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, but I mean, again, there's a few different ways you do it, but one of the main things is
bribery. No?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally. Smoking cigars in back rooms and real estate, baby. No, one of the main things is accessibility, making accessible big events that bring in new people.
Right.
And you just get out there, and that's what the North Bay Hootenanny, my nonprofit organization.
Yeah, congrats on that, by the way. That's going to be great.
Yeah, we're working on it, and those projects like Next Level and the Railroad Square Music Festival are about putting it out there. Music in particular, I mean, there's a lot. That's a big question with a lot of the arts, but music in particular, I feel like gets pushed into bars so often because it's so hard to make money off of live music, that very quickly the places that host live music turn into nightclubs and bars,
and they monetize it with alcohol and
that's
stuff.
How you have to have some other auxiliary streams to pay for hosting music.
Yeah, and I think they should be civic and governmental in nature. I think
so. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Yeah, where that auxiliary funding can come from, but right now it's mostly bars and whatever. And so then people who don't go out at night to bars, people with families, there's so many people never get the experience of live music and see how amazing it is, what a great community builder is, and how it builds reputation and builds the economy of an area. So one of my main things from the very beginning of having the North Bay Hootenanny and being a producer in the area is to take music and put it where music usually is not, so that people can stumble upon it and fall in love with it and see the benefits of it, so that other businesses can see, wow, this is really good for the community and for my business, and so that you build a reputation of the area, and tourism and the city and everything starts to look and be like, oh wow, this is an important part, and you got to get it out of the bars to do that. And so that's one of what I've been doing for the last few years.
Josh, you're totally brilliant, and I totally want you to come back.
Yeah.
So anytime.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Josh Windmiller, really making a difference and making a scene in music in the North Bay and beyond. We'll see you next time on 707.